I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I am working in my December daily album. I have some serious catching up to do with December daily, so I'm going to do 5 days and keeping it really simple. I'm going to work through those days. There's still details to go back and add to some of the other pages, but we are going to start right on December 6th. I will link things that I used down below. I know several of you are working on your December daily albums, trying to finish them up. So let's do this together. Let's get them wrapped up. I will put you guys on fast forward, link things below. Otherwise, let's go. All right, I have my photos all ready to go. So for the 6th day of December, I'm going to document my anniversary. So I have a picture of my husband and I from when we went out. We actually went out on the 5th of December because parent life, we had all the things to do on December the 6th. But that was our 13-year wedding anniversary. And so I always have a page in my December daily dedicated to our anniversary. And I decided to really do a large picture of the two of us and just have an area that I could write out some things for our anniversary. So there's a picture of us wandering around downtown Occoquan near where we live and really enjoying the beautiful weather and the Christmas decorations. And you can see it's super big. It's going to cover up the whole left side of this paper and you just have a little bit of the pattern peeking out, but that's what I was going for. I really want to make sure that my December daily is focused on the pictures and the words and not just the supplies and the complicated nature of a page and just worried about embellishments. I want to really focus on the pictures because that's what I like going back to look at. So I'm going to grab this puffy sticker. It says photo op. These are all from the Vicki Boutin Warm Wishes line, which is the winter line that I bought to kind of have as my main part of December daily. And then I'm going to grab some Felicity Jane letters that I have in my stash, and that's going to be how I choose my numbers. I'm using a lot of different Felicity Jane. I'm trying to see if there are any paper embellishments that I want to add, but truthfully, I just find a couple that I'm going to add to the card beneath it. So if you didn't see my pre-planning video, I kind of set up my December daily. I put all of my pocket, my page protectors in the binder. I pre-select cards and just kind of put them in. Yes, I can give myself the freedom to change the cards if I don't like it or switch around the pages, but it really helps me, especially in times like this when I'm super far behind. It helps me make quicker decisions and get things down on paper. So I have this 4x6 card. I love this little embellishment that says making a list and checking it twice. So I'm going to hand letter out the title that says reasons I love you. And then I'm going to add that little list over on the side for that particular ephemera piece. So I listed some reasons I love my husband. It got all mushy. Your heart, kind eyes, loving father, hilarious, my balance, and biggest cheerleader. So I did that, and then I wrote out what we did for our anniversary, which was a nice low-key day, and that should pretty much wrap up day 6. Again, simple. This time I used my handwriting because I didn't really feel like going over to the typewriter, so got it down on paper and ready to move on to day 7. So on days that we didn't have a lot going on, I chose to document a tradition instead of a specific happening. So on this particular day, for day 7, I am documenting the tradition of the holiday mess. So I generally take a little time off from videoing at Christmas, and before I do that, I do a ton of videos just so that there's plenty of room to plenty of videos to go up when I am taking time off. So my craft room gets blown up, and so I'm documenting my now traditional holiday mess. And I have this little square picture of my craft room that I think is adorable, and I'm going to layer it with this little ticket that says North Pole Gift Division, and it has a little list of like naughty and nice, which I thought was really funny because I don't know about you, but we put out all our Christmas decorations. We love them, and then life gets crazy in December and our house gets so messy. One of my favorite things in January is taking them all down and giving our house a good clean. So I thought I would list all of the messy parts of our house and mark them naughty. And then the one part that does stay relatively clean, because it's where I like to kind of decompress in the evening, is our main living room. So I'm using some Paper Person alpha stickers right here to write out the title Holiday Mess. And then I'll write out my craft room and mark it naughty. I'll write out the kids' rooms, which are super messy, and mark those naughty. And then the living room, we'll mark that as nice. And the last thing I'll do is add the number 7 for that particular day. Now that's going to go on the bottom. On the top, I have an empty space because I'm not wanting to put day 8 and 9 there. So I'm just going to embellish a card. I pick out some pretty cardstock that I like from the Warm Wishes line. I'm going to go with this stocking cardstock, and I kind of take some time to look, make sure that that's what I want. I want something bright and colorful to kind of match the happy and merry days that is opposite that. So I'm just going to adhere the card that's on the front to the stocking cardstock and then trim that out. And I'm going to add an extra title. So my days, there's always this phrase that says the days are long, but the years are short, which I totally agree with. But there are definitely times that some days the days feel short, especially when I'm racing to get my kids from school because I've been working from the second they walked out the door, and then it's time to go pick them up. So I want to add a different phrase on top of this. And because it was so busy, I felt like you weren't really going to see the title. So I'm actually using some of the Dina Wakley gloss spray to whiten up the background, and I will dry that really well. I'll speed that up. Really, you should let this air dry, but I'm kind of a rebel and I just use my heat tool and it doesn't seem to affect it too badly. So I just wanted to white out some of the pattern there. I dry that, and then I'm going to use some Tim Holtz Alpha stickers to write out the phrase, sometimes the days are short too, because that's definitely what it feels like in December for me. Everything is fast and furious, and there's so much going on and so much to do that sometimes the days just fly by completely. So putting that out, I kind of wanted to hand letter it, but I wasn't sure that I had the correct pen that would write over the acrylic spray, so I decided to just use these Alpha stickers, and these are my go-tos. I love them, and I'm using them throughout this album, so it definitely has a cohesive feel as you're flipping through the album. All right, next up is documenting days 8 and 9, and I'm planning on doing that together, and I make a little mistake. So I'm cutting the paper out. I want to use this really pretty brown that has this kind of snow look in the background, and I make a little mistake because I refuse to measure because that's who I am. So I'm just kind of folding the paper, and then I guesstimate. I should have just measured and should have just remembered that my album is 6 by 8. Hello. But I didn't, so I cut this a little bit too short. It's perfect width-wise, and then lengthwise it ends up being just a little short. And the way I solve that is I add a little bit of trim at the top to give it a little more height. And the cool thing is when I use the white pom-pom trim, it'll go with both sides of the spread. So it matches with both sides, and I think it goes pretty nicely. I could also have just completely taken it out of the page protector, which I might still do, and just punch holes directly in the paper to have it fit a little bit better. I wasn't about to recut the paper because I was perfectly fine with how it was. When I add pom-pom trim, I always put down sticky adhesive first and then Fabri-Tac, and that just allows me to move on faster because the sticky adhesive holds it in place while the Fabri-Tac takes just a little bit to dry. It's not very long at all. So I always do a combination of both, and now I have my pom-poms all ready to go, and I'm ready to start on days 8 and 9. So for those 2 days, I have a picture of my daughter and myself at a Girl Scout event that we enjoyed a lot. It's supposed to be a tradition. Our Girl Scout service unit puts on a party for moms and daughters every holiday, and we have never had the chance to go. And so this was our first chance to go, and it was a bingo night. And so there was this 12 days of Christmas card that you see right there with the numbers, and I thought it looked very similar to a bingo card, so I think that's going to be my journaling card. And then I also just took a self-care picture of getting my nails done, which was much needed after a super busy week filming videos. I took a little bit of time for self-care and was really grateful to have that time. So I'm going to use that particular photo of my nails as a pocket for my journaling card. And the way I did that, they're very similar sizes. I just put adhesive on the bottom of the photo, and then I used washi tape on the sides. If I had added adhesive on the sides of the photo, there's no way that the bingo card, what I'm calling a bingo card, would slide in. And so I needed the extra room, so the washi tape will secure it in place and I'll be able to slide in that little journaling card. I love adding pops of black because I think they're a little bit unexpected in a December album. And so I'm using black grid washi, and we'll have this little strand of stars here at the top because it felt a little celebratory to me. And because this was a party and self-care, like fun traditions, I thought that would be perfect. We'll add a little hot cocoa here and there on top of our letter to Santa, because, you know, hot cocoa is self-care too. And you can see it's all kind of coming together. I'll put the letter to Santa on the bottom, kind of askew, and then the hot cocoa will rest on top, but I did decide I wanted to raise it up. So I'm going to add some foam adhesive on the back so that it will give it just a little bit more dimension, and then some twisted thread. This is silver thread, and that's always fun to add just for a little extra sparkle on the pages, especially for the month of December. I think sparkle is always appropriate when you're working in your December album, because it definitely feels like a sparkly and bright month to me. So getting that down, and then I'll layer the cocoa on top of it. I forgot that I wanted to add a little bit more washi underneath my cocoa, and so you'll see me add it a little bit later. This is nestled on top, but I really wish I'd added the washi first. Okay, I pulled a tab here. This is again from the same Vicky Bouton line. I love that there were so many paper options with this line. You have more than enough to do an entire December album, like a ton, a ton, a ton. Using that as the tab so I know to pull that little journaling card out. And then I'm just looking for something else that could kind of slip behind it. We'll go with the other hot cocoa just to add a little balance. So sticking that right in there. So when you pull it, it'll still be pretty behind. And then I'm just looking to see how I want to add my numbers, which I'll use these paper person numbers. They're a little bit smaller than the Felicity Jane ones, but I like changing up the numbers this year. So day 8, and we will add number 9 here at the bottom. And then I decide, this is what I'm thinking, I want to add a little bit more black. And so I wish that I'd had some underneath the coffee cup. So I tear the piece, I kind of get it under there, but the thread's already there and I wanted it to wrap around. So I messed with it, and then there was a little tail. Things happen, you know, washi tape sometimes has a mind of its own. So I just trim it off and finish it out with this extra little piece. It all works out. It all works out in the end, and I have my little base. And then I'm just going to add a little bit right here to my tab just for another little piece of black on the page. I will label that tab the story, and I will do the journaling off camera, and then I'll move on to the last page I'm planning on documenting today, which is December the 10th. And this is a gorgeous picture of my 3 kids. I think this is one of my favorite pictures of all time. Our church had a beautiful photo area all set up, and they just all 3 actually smiled and looked at the camera, and I'm just so impressed with how great they look. So I definitely wanted this picture nice and big in my December album, and this is definitely a picture that's going to be framed around my house for a long time to come, I think. So pretty big picture, so not a lot of room for other things on the page. And again, I'm going to go with some black. I like the pops of black. I think it picks up some of the darker tones in the picture, which I also kind of am just digging. I don't know why. I don't know why black is appealing to me, but it is. So I'm kind of just going for it. I wanted a nice thick line here at the bottom, and so I had the grid washi, but I did want a rough edge, so I'm actually tearing another long piece in half and layering it over the top so it's extra thick here at the bottom. And then I'll use the extra piece, the one I ripped in half, and I will add that right under the pom-poms at the top. And I think it kind of frames in the page a little bit more, which is nice. And then that contrast with the black and the white is really crisp and really contrasts nicely with the warm colors of the background. I just think it comes together really pretty. So the rest of the page will be pretty simple. I have a lot of these puffy stickers that I'm really loving to use. So I'm going to see what I have. I'm definitely going to use those gold ones for the number. I will put the picture on the page and get the Christmas tree all settled in place, and then kind of go for it with all of the different stickers. You can see me kind of comparing where I want to go. I love the smile sticker. That was kind of the main title, but I also really like the ones that say shine and sparkle. I want to include those just because I think they fit really nicely on the page. So we'll put the tree down. I'll actually end up starting with shine and sparkle because they are a little bit smaller. So I'm working from the smallest word to the biggest in size. Not necessarily the longest word, sparkle's longer, but smile is just a bigger font. So that'll go here at the bottom. I do end up shifting it over though. I put it down and then I have to pick it up and move it over a little bit because I wanted the 10 to be right in the corner. You can see I'm trying to figure out where the 10 is going to go, and this is where I just pull that up and move it ever so carefully. I don't want to rip the photo. So very carefully put the 10 down first, or at least the 1. Get those down and then add the word smile. And then the last thing I'll do on this page is bring in some more of that same gold with more puffy stars. I'll replace the star on the Christmas tree with a puffy star, and then just add a few around the page just to add some fun sparkle to the layout. Phew, and that's it. That was 5 days of December daily. Sometimes it's easier to pull out all of your supplies and just go for it. Normally I like to complete this project in December, but that just didn't happen this year. So I will be catching up in the month of January. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. As always, I have linked supplies down in the description box below, so make sure to check those out. I also have a link to my Patreon account down below. Make sure to check that out if you're interested in receiving some of the awesome perks for joining Patreon. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.